man, we got this going. Oh man, it's so sweet. We're live. We got chances to pick up questions right now. Man, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day, you know.
Yeah,
So
man. Yeah, I see
yeah,
you got your pineapple shirt on. Like got the little tropics. It's crazy how we always sync up like that. I'm feeling a little tropical today too. I put the little palm trees. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
we
mean, yeah, we don't even coordinate it. We just synced up like that.
yep. Even picked up same background. That was dope.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah,
so
man.
so
Yeah,
so life is good, man. A lot of energy out there. A lot of making things happen. So
for
yeah,
sure.
man, this
Yeah,
is beautiful.
yeah, we got a great topic coming up today. Man, we're talking about, the tools that we have in life, so many of them out there. We just I know you were thinking about it and I was too. At what point do these tools keep serving us? The tools that we use to serve us start shaping us, and we use these apps to sleep. They tell us when to move. AI tells us what to think. All the algorithms tell us what to watch. And all these technologies are great, right? So I always have in my mind, you know, we got to use these technologies. We have to embrace them, but we also have to be careful, right? Because it seems like we're outsourcing our judgment
Mm.
and our own personal value. So that's what we're gonna dive into today, man. Should be an interesting one. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it, and as people chime in, their thoughts as well. So,
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. This is one of those things that I think is it's a creeper. It's a
it's the
creeper,
creeper.
and it's a yeah, man, it's a creeper inside of all the generations that we have. You know, the older, like super old people, not super old people, but like the people who are or have been forced to use YouTube and social medias, like the 80s, 70s year old people, and the 60s to the late mid 40s have we was coming up and we was already taking hold, but everybody up underneath there has already been using it. They
Yeah,
grew up using the social media platforms and stuff, and then Google and all the other web browsers, Firefox and all that other stuff to get information. Now we got Claude, we got what's that one we use,
Gen
um
Spark.
Gen Spark. We got a couple black owned ones. Um, you got Gronk. We got all these other um, technologies, AI technologies that are here to answer questions, man. And it seems like a beautiful, wonderful thing. And I don't particularly think that's why this is the part where I'm saying it's creeping in. Um, and you already know my mind is always on how are they going to control us. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I think I I think this is the way that they're going to use to control us, man. Um, Withholding and keeping information and making us dumber. We already well that was my idea. All how even education is making us more lackadaisical in the way we think. We don't hard think anymore. We always get challenged. Like you don't have an original thought. Somebody else has a thought, even if you never heard of this idea and it pops into your head and you talk about it in school. They're like, okay, so who else thought about it? And you're like, I don't know. This is the first time I felt it, so I said it. Right? They're like, no, you need to find somebody else who thought of what you thought of and add them as a source to what you were thinking. It's like
man,
you didn't have the idea first, somebody else did, right?
it is a
So
creepy one, man. You're right.
yeah,
It is a creepy topic because some things can liberate you and also free you at the same time. It's just to depend on how you choose to use it, where you step in at. I mean, especially if you just go back to when the computers were first coming out, I'm sure there were a lot of people who were like, I'm not going to use computers. I don't want anything to do with it. And they got left behind. And then you saw others who took advantage of it and they leapfrogged and went to a whole new level with the things they were able to create, things they were able to do, the business type of businesses they were able to run. So it is. one of those things where, hey, am I being controlled by it or am I controlling it? So that's the topic at hand, man. Are we going too far? Where does this lead us in the future? I think it's twofold. Really think it's twofold.
What do you
But
mean twofold? Like, what's the other fold? Like,
well, like um, how they what's that saying that says one person's uh trash is another person's treasure. It's
okay,
the same it's the same item, but one person's got rid of it, one person found treasure in it. Same thing with these technologies. One person might see liberation, one person might see control. And both of those realities can be true at the same time, just like in the case of this treasure, right? So it's just like that. It's twofold. But sometimes we have to be careful. Like, are we losing ourselves in the thing that's going on, or are we aware enough to use it as a tool versus a control mechanism?
right.
So it's a lot of different things in play at the same time, and I think all of those realities are true. It's just where you see yourself in it.
Yeah, and I think the idea of using it as a tool is we're losing it. I
Losing it.
mean, yeah, we're losing the idea of using it as a tool. Like I'm I may think, okay, this is a tool, this is what I'm going to use, this is what's going to help us, right? But it's like or a toolbox, because there's many different things inside of the AI questioning thing. Google is the main one for me, where you go in and you ask the question, right? And it's you can ask it a question, or even um, uh, chat GPT. You can ask them questions, and it's going to give you whatever is, let's see, whatever they want to give you right offhand, right? So
So
it's
you're
like,
saying like it might not be truly accurate. It's based on the people who programmed it, what the type of answer is going to spit out. Is
exactly.
that
And
what
if
you?
they don't, and we
Okay.
already know, if they don't want, they can scrub stuff from the internet. They can scrub it. You
Yeah.
know, it's like they already told us, hey, if we don't want you to know this information, you ain't gonna get it, because it's not in a book. Like if it's in a book, it's always there. They can't take the information out. Like what I showed you the other day. I asked the question about marijuana and about Bayer and Monsanto's. Have they um have they when they have did they collaborate on the weed market, right? And
Yeah.
I asked that to Google, and Google said they have never collaborated on in the weed in the weed industry, in the marijuana industry. And I'm like, wait a minute. I know I did research on it from Google's information, where I asked that question years ago. So and I'm glad I had the article already. And it was an article back in, what's that, 2013. And then there was an article in of, October 2016, and then October and September 2016. Two other articles where it says inside the article that Bayer and Monsanto's have collaborated on. One says the agriculture, but the agriculture inside of the article talks about marijuana. The other one talks about the marijuana industry directly, and the one in 2013 talks about Monsanto's talking to Bayer about
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
marijuana industry. So I'm like, oh, come on now.
Yeah.
You're
For
not.
sure.
I asked you this question now. So my issue with that is this: I'm trying to make a point to. I'm just going to use a real situation that happened. Trying to make a point to my son about this. And my son goes, oh, well, hold on for a second. Let me check to see if you're right. He don't say that, but that's the attitude. Let me check to see if you're right about this. So he asks Google, and it pops up. It's not there. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Here's the article. And the article's in from Google. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like when you ask it, it's not actually going to, it may not give you the information if they're trying to hide it, but they can't hide articles. I mean, maybe
yeah.
they
I
can.
mean, yeah, you're right. So what I mean, the problem, I mean, the solve for it is, and you mentioned earlier, like there was a couple of black-owned um, AI chat bots or whatever. Um, so it sounds like we need to create our own AI chat bot that has real information in it that can be relied upon. Because, like you say, these things can be manipulated. I know a dude I follow, Seven Bomar. Shout out to Seven Bomar. He created one that has a lot of esoteric knowledge in it and a database of old textbooks that he compiled to combat just what you said, misinformation. Because sometimes, these systems, they're programmed by someone, and if that someone doesn't want you to know, it's not going to be there. And we saw real time. You remember back in 2020, 2021, when the C word was going on, there was a lot of things where people were pointing out different facts about this and that and things that were happening in certain areas. And then you go back to the internet and it wasn't there. But that was a real time scrubbing on the internet, like you just say. And you look, and if you fast forward 20 years from now, people go to back to look, that information is gone forever. It's never going to be there. And
Right,
it will start to
right.
shape the narrative of how things went down. And then that shapes the way the people see the reality then based on what type of information they're able to get. So it is important and something to look out for. I mean, I don't know the real solution to it other than finding books, trying to find systems that have good integrity when it comes to information, looking at multiple sources, which is always a smart thing to do anyway, looking at multiple sources, learning how to also ask questions in a different way when it comes to these systems.
Yeah, and that's just in the system. We had a conversation about this a little while ago, and one of the solves that we did come up with is make sure that we have conversations with our children. Make sure our children have conversations not just with us, but with other people. Get involved with the human aspect of it because of the different experiences that the human has. Reconnect with people, and that's a way to do it. But one of the fights is with that our children are being indoctrinated into the AI system, believing that AI and Google has all the answers. They're not going back to books so much anymore to figure out the answers. They're saying they're going to books, but all the books are online. You know what I mean? Because
For sure.
so it's like those children that are in elementary school right now are being parented by the people who grew up asking Google questions and not reading books.
And Google is actually synonymous with finding an answer. Hey, well, what happened there? Let me Google it. Like that's the immediate word. Like it's the only go-to that most people would have in mind. I asked my wife this morning, we're getting ready to celebrate our 27th anniversary. And
Congratulations.
she, oh,
Congratulations.
oh yeah, cool. Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. A couple of weeks. And she was like, I said, well, what's the gift for 27 years? She said, I don't know, you got to Google it. That's the only way to find out. Like, because where would you go find out? You know how you give like wood or diamonds or whatever based on the year, those types of things. I don't know where you'd find it. Go to the library. You got to drive to the library now. I mean, it's inconvenient, but the point I'm making is that that's synonymous with finding an answer.
Right.
And if it's not there, then I mean, you're just out of luck.
Right. And that thing that I was trying to put forth a little bit deeper is the parents to these children who are being taught to use Google. You know, the children. in elementary school are using Google, and they're thinking that this is the correct answer. The parents
Yeah.
grew up already denying us of having the right answer. So they are leaning 100% on this AI system has the right answer. It has the only answer. If it's not here, it's not right. They don't care about what we believe anymore. So those children are going to look. This is what I believe. I'll be gone probably by the time they become old enough to deal with their children, the ones in elementary school right now. Um, they're going to be looking at AI as the absolute, the God of all information. They're not going to be paying attention to their parents because their parents are going to, or even those people coming up are going to be like, I don't know if dad has an answer. Let me go ask Google. I don't even have to ask dad. I don't have to ask mom what they experienced during this time because Google has an answer. Google has an answer for everything. I don't have to ask my person who just experienced it. You know what I mean? They were there. Let me ask Google. The person who was actually there is right in front of you, but they're going to ask Google.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope. And we talked about this before about how, older societies that didn't have computers use orators and oracles or the elders basically to tell the stories of the history of the people and what went on. And this word was trusted because you knew these elders, they were of the utmost respect, right? They found value in passing on those traditions to the young children to keep the lineage and quite frankly the DNA because the information is in the body. It is passed on through our thoughts, which go on to our body. So it's keeping the lineage strong in that sense as well. But that's lost, man. We don't even trust each other anymore like that. And that's something that you're hitting on subtly is that we've lost the trust in each other to be able to have a general conversation without having to Google it. And that is I mean, it's a crazy thing to fast forward a couple of years from now. Maybe we don't even talk to each other. Maybe we just only have conversations with AI because that's the only trustworthy source that you feel like and I think I'm not anti-science when I say this, but I want to say
There you
it
go.
in a way that it kind of lands that science has slowly become the religion in a sense.
Yeah, you talk about bro science. Yeah, yeah. Let's get dig into that one because you made a
Oh, bro.
beautiful point. You made a
Oh
beautiful
well.
point about that. Yeah,
Oh well. All right. Well, I'll dive into bro science, then come back to that point. So, bro science is basically like we go back decades ago, in the early 50s, 60s, and things like that, when working out was kind of new. It wasn't as much research and as much science. They hadn't started taking athletes into the lab and studying what was happening all the way down to the cellular level yet. But we had these guys in the gym who were just experimenting and having fun with it, and from their own experience, they were able to come up with things that worked. And nowadays we call this bro science. Like, the bros in the gym just figured out something and it works. Word gets around, other people start trying it, and it kind of catches on. And then now they've taken that bro science, put it into the lab, and found out the mechanisms of how these things really work. It doesn't really invalidate the bro science, it just kind of confirms it. But now we start to look at the confirmation as if it's the genesis of what happened when it's really the confirmation of it. It's not the genesis of the bro science, it's just confirming what the bro science already discovered. So the point I'm making with that is that experience, as we say, is the greatest teacher, but with too much science, too much research, if nothing's validated by that, then it invalidates real experience.
right. I
Your real
agree.
experience doesn't hold weight until we are able to prove how it works in the lab. And that gets back to someone's intuition. Your intuition now isn't really valid until we can prove it in the lab. And sometimes you just know things, and we say it in ways that I just had a gut feeling, and that's okay. Like we're not, and with too much research and science and things like that, we can shut off our gut intuition about certain things and go, oh, I gotta Google this first. And that's a very slippery slope in a way. Not that Google is necessarily bad, but it's also like don't turn off your own intuition and your own experience because, as the word says, it is the greatest teacher. You only really know something when you experience it.
Right.
Otherwise, it's kind of a vicarious way of learning something, which is not bad because you can learn from other people's experience. But to really know it for yourself and how it's going to affect you is to experience it. So that was my point with that. And so it's kind of a fine line between experience and science living together in harmony, but one not being necessarily better than the other. They can kind of complement each other. And I think
Exactly.
that's the balance that we have to find with these systems and with us and how we relate to each other and what can really give us real information that's useful in our lives.
And one of the ways that I think that is very dangerous is because if we always question, like we'll just deal with farming. We'll just deal with farming and what propagating food inside of the home, right? Just something small, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, I got an idea on how I can do this, grow whatever, and I'm growing it and I'm successful with it, right? And it's not the way that other people were taught, right? And then you look in, like people are looking into Google and they're like, well, that's not how it works. This is the only way, this is the right way to do it. I don't either, they can go to the idea, well, I don't trust your food because this is, you didn't do it this way, you're not using this technique or whatever. But then if everybody's using the same technique, whoever is in control has the ability to disrupt that cycle. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Oh, so
sure.
everybody's using this fertilizer. Okay, let's put something in that fertilizer. Or everybody's doing this. Let's go ahead and seed the clouds so it'll rain for this many days because that will mess up that system. Now they have to rely on us again. Something. Now that was fantasy what I just said, but
Or was it?
it's or yeah, or was it? But that is something that is
Yeah,
real. Once everybody aligns to the same way, it is very detrimental to people's lifestyle and just life in general because it can be controlled. As long as there's many different streams of ways of doing the same thing, you can't control everything. Something is going to
sure.
get through where people are still able to survive and thrive. You know what I mean? So um, my solve is to not always follow the that prescribed method. If there's another method, if you can find somebody who has a different method, like maybe an Amish person, or maybe a sharecropper person, or somebody somewhere that is not always doing stuff that's on Google. They might have a different technique. They might say, hey, you know what? Don't use that. Go grab you a goldfish. It might seem cruel, but kill it and throw it in your pot before you plant. Let it sit for a little while. That nutrients or whatever. You know what I mean? They can give you
Yeah,
a
for sure.
technique
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
other than using Miracle Grow. And I'm not saying nothing bad with Miracle Grow because I use it for my plants. But they can give you a different technique to have a better crop, a faster crop. You know what I mean? So I, I do see AI as part of something that is going to massively control the way we live and make us lose the connections, the mental connections, the heartfelt connections, the just all connection that humans have from one person to another. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely has a potential, and as we stated earlier, man, I think it has the potential to do that. But also on the flip side,
Okay, flip side.
it can't. Yeah, there's a flip side. Like I said, both of these worlds exist together. It can enhance what you're doing to a point where you can liberate yourself, which then will allow you to have more human connection. And I say that because I'm trying to think, was it Peter Thiel? I can't think of the gentleman's name. But basically, in so many words, he was saying we're going to soon see a one-person company that can generate $1 billion because now one person can write the script, they can create the characters, they can go out and do the lighting, they can do the image, they can do the marketing, and these tools can allow one person to duplicate the jobs of 20, 30 people. So, and if you can imagine that one person doing all that from their computer could soon be liberated to the point where everything's automated, then it can go out and hang out and spend more time with people and connect if that's what they desire to do. So it is possible to do it both ways. It's just a matter of like where are you at in it? Are you aware enough to use the tools in that way to liberate yourself, or will you allow it to continue to control you in that way?
Oh yeah, and that I know this is a little bit off topic, but that does allow for people to have universal basic income because it's already not destroyed. I don't want to use that word destroyed, but displace other jobs. You know,
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
so and then if they're making so much money, and like you said, this is a long another conversation, but all of those different jobs have a pay bracket. And if those pay brackets are being taxed, once AI jumps into it, it starts doing those things for it. Those AI, those different pay brackets are being taxed. Then that does come and help out with universal basic income. So people will all be on welfare after, okay, I'm going doom and gloom, but after a lot of people are destroyed, you know.
Like I said, I think you're gonna have you got both worlds. Some are gonna be catapulted to the top. I'm planning on being one of those, and some are gonna be, and
Right,
some are some are gonna be left behind, and that's the reality. And
right,
the thing is, like, you
right.
got the red or the blue pill. Which one will you choose?
I'm Will
Which one will you
Smith. I'm
choose?
choosing
Because
both.
yeah,
Go
you can
ahead.
choose both. I mean, I don't know where that leaves you, but if you get both, that put you at the top, maybe.
I don't know. A different
You'll
type of
find out.
a different type of trapped freedom.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, so it goes both ways. And we've been talking about, just how AI and stuff, this technology is super powerful. And being in the health realm, and we talked a little bit about bro science. Like we got so much going on that we use this technology for, for monitoring your sleep. So we can't even really get good sleep now for some of us unless we're tracking it, seeing where how great we sleep and how much REM we got. All those things. We're tracking our hormones to a highest level. Just pushing the envelope. And a lot of this technology is really great because it is really helping us in some ways get to the top. But can we do too much with all this tracking and stuff, man? Because I know some people just you can be consumed by it. I definitely see some value in it. I'm sure a lot of technology was used with the guy yesterday who broke the mile record, and he did it in like 3 minutes and 42 seconds, which was cool,
Mm,
uh, which is insane, really. Like that's next
yeah,
level. So I'm sure a lot of tech went into that. Um, yeah. So what do you know about the wearable tech, man? I see it going real far. Here pretty soon we're gonna have implantable tech. Um, is
dude.
that what we really need? I mean, are we losing our ability to just kind of
I think
be a
so.
human? I be thinking about it sometimes like that.
I I think it's bad on every single side. I don't see anything good in it. Um,
In the wearable
be,
tech, like
well, no,
heart rate mon-
I'm even going as far as the Neuralink.
oh, okay.
You know,
Humans merging with technology.
yeah, as far as that, because that's like almost for my thinking right now, instead of unless we go on cyborg, complete cyborg, um, that is just the beginning of becoming a cyborg, you know. But I think that part is bad for everybody. It looks good because the wearer, the person who gets it, is like, oh man, I know everything right now. I know everything right now. I know what's going on in Europe. I know what's going on in Africa. I know what's going on, blah, 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 blah. Right. And that's enticing other people to say, shit, I want to know what's going on in all those places. I want that information. You know, what's 7,000 times 644 million? Oh, I got the answer right now. It's blah, 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 trillion. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I want that. I want that. And maybe I can hit some lottery numbers and they start doing all that. That right there is the tool, I believe. I mean, because they start losing their self. They're not thinking anymore. So it's bad for them. They're not thinking, they're losing their what you said, gut instinct. They're losing that. They're losing their ability to emotionally be involved with their choices. Because if you
Well,
can just pop up
right.
like that with an answer, there's no emotion involved. You know, let me check. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, I got you. Here you go. You know I mean, like there's a lot of ego. There might be a lot of ego involved, you know, but if you have that kind of information, if a person has that kind of information, I think they would lose their sensitivity to being a human because they would have the answer. Well, that's why they're poor. And then like I said earlier, the people who control that information is giving that person the information, you know, is guiding them with the algorithms on what they want to believe, what they want to choose. Because this is the thing that I think people are missing. People are really missing. Um, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. I can prove I can prove that GMOs are 1,000% bad for the world,
You
right?
mean you can prove it? You mean like if
I,
someone did some research on it, you
yeah,
or
yeah,
you can
yeah. I can
okay.
prove it by pulling up research, and there's research to back me. There's research to back exactly what I want to prove. There's also research to deny exactly what I'm. If somebody said no, that's not true, that they can 100% deny that it's the greatest thing that has ever happened to the food industry. You know, it saves people. It you can take it over, and we can create this tomato that can grow in the desert with GMOs. You know, how many lives are we saving? You know, we don't even have to kill chickens anymore. We can use their DNA to create meat. You know, I mean, like, so there's things that we could battle back and forth and say AI or whatever is proven, and there's middle ground. There's things that go in and do research and find the middle ground in it. But whatever I'm thinking, my algorithm is going to pull my strength on my deniability of it being a good thing. So that's where I'm going 100%. And that will be in my neural implant. I will not be able to change what I'm thinking because you already know how hard it is to change your Google settings, even though you go ahead and push you go ahead and push refresh or whatever, but it still keeps that similar algorithm when you on Instagram or whatever. It says you're able to reset it, but who would reset their brain? That sounds kind of scary. Let me reset back to zero so I can think a different way. No, no,
Man.
that's not what people do. That's not what people do, and not often.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you wow, bro. We went from wearable tech right into cyborgs.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I skipped a
well,
whole lot
okay.
of stages.
I'm trying to get some better sleep and heart rate monitors. Oh man.
Well, I think wearable
So,
tech is just going there. It's just
I
going
know.
there.
No, it's all good. All right, so that's where we're gonna end up. Maybe. Oh, that's
But
funny, man. I think
right now we're at the soft stage of it. The soft stage of it, yeah, it's good because it's the manipulation factor. It's
for
good to
sure, helping
know,
stuff, no doubt, no
yeah,
doubt. I mean, but you're right. I mean, there's got to be an endpoint somewhere, right? As we keep innovating, as we keep bringing on new technologies, we go from just monitoring our glucose with a wearable monitor to artificial pancreas that makes insulin, and then you got an artificial heart and artificial lung. You know, it just keeps going on, going until eventually you're able to recreate the entire human body, right? Where
okay,
to where you don't need it. But I would say though, like, I did this talk a couple weeks ago about mind body technology for first responders, and basically it was about using the mind and the body together to create change or emotional resilience or being able to overcome a stressful situation by having some mindfulness. And the point of the whole talk was that like someone knows exactly what's in a robot, right? Even though they're
okay,
very complex machines and they're cool, and we look at them, oh man, this robot can, turn a backwards flip, or this robot can run 40 miles an hour. It's a complex machine, but someone knows everything about this robot because humans created it. And the body, unlike the robot, is so complex that no one here knows everything about it.
right, right,
And no one here has discovered, aha, I know exactly how the human being works. And we know this is the case because in so many studies, when they look at the human body and cells and how things work, a lot of it ends up saying we're unclear as to how this really works. We don't really know for sure if this would work for everybody in every situation, meaning we haven't fully cracked the code on the human body itself. And I make that point because it is the most complex apparatus or machine or being or whatever you want to call it on the earth. And we haven't even mastered it. And yet we're tinkering with it in a way that may have some detrimental effects. So the point I'm making is we have to just kind of understand the body in and of itself because, people spend decades and years their entire life and still haven't cracked the code definitively on how everything works within the body.
right.
So it's so I guess the point I'm making is that man, is we're more complex than we give ourselves credit for. There's a lot of things to be discovered with us. So is all of this stuff too much? Is it leading us down a path to where we neglect fully what's going on with us?
I think now this is again fantasy, but I think it's true to where what you're saying. We don't have because it's still a medical practice. And the more information, and we already know the AI is trying to get more information about the way we speak, our gestures, everything about us. And by us wearing heart monitors and having GPS and having the ability to computerize our glucose levels, our just everything, our whole, biography. Is that the word?
Biology. Biology?
Biology. Thank you. I was like, that don't sound right. But our whole biology through tech, that's given AI not just a little bit of information, but all the information about each individual person that is actually in wearing that tech. And then remember, now this is one of those fear mongering things, and I'm going to use it right now because it makes a point. Remember when it was in I don't know, matter of fact, you don't watch Marvel too much, but there
Watch most of the Marvel movies, a lot of them.
okay, remember the one where they had the three ships that flew up It was who was that? Was that Captain America? Uh, I forgot. No, that not Captain America. That was Iron Man. And well, they had the three ships that was flying up, and it could pinpoint everybody that was there. It could pinpoint everybody, and the ships was going to shoot all the people that lit up.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that one, but tell me about it.
Well, it was I, it was when they was doing the super soldier thing and whatever. Anyway, nonetheless, I don't remember if it was Iron Man or Captain America, but it was the ships that had the ability to pinpoint all these people, and they was going through a point of depopulation. Hydra, yeah, was going to do a depopulation thing, and with all this wearable tech and GPS and it knowing what to do. And we already know right now that they could use your phone. The U.S. military can use the phone and heat up the battery if they don't want you to talk and blow up next to you. We know that they have that technology, right? Um, Now maybe they have that technology in here because there's a battery inside our phone, inside our earpieces, right? But think about if we got the wearable tech. I mean, Neuralink. We are the battery, right? Like the Matrix, we are the battery, and it's knows exactly where we are. If it wants to cut that dude off, drop down. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, that is science fiction. But when you think about Star Trek, right? Star Trek was science fiction at one time, and Star Trek: The Next Generation was back in 1991. And they had an episode that it was called The Game, where they put these little things over your ears and it shot stuff into your eye, and it was like virtual reality. We have that right now, and it was supposed to take over. Like anyway, there's stuff that they had a long time ago that's real right now in this world. You know, it was totally not possible back in 1991 to have this that we have right now. Right now, we're seeing uh, that movie that I was just talking about. How would back then when that movie came out, how would they know about everybody, where everybody was all at the same time? Because somebody could put their phone down, right? But then we get the vaccine that they say have these little microbots or whatever, and all this barium and aluminum inside the body, and all this foreign objects that went inside people's body that took the shot, right? That's one way that we can light up to um, whatever systems that they got. You know what I mean? So I just don't think like all this AI stuff. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it. I'm just aware of it. What's possible, what's possible. And I know there's a lot of people that say, "Hey, man, stop thinking all this fear stuff. You're bringing it a life to life in your world. It's it's whatever." But I don't want people. I don't think people should not have that idea that this world is that sinister. This world is a sinister world. You know what I mean? Look at we know what the Epstein files have done to us. We know what the Epstein file has done to us. We know that our leaders, our supposed leaders of America and in other countries, rape children. We know that. And maybe that's a bad word to use on the internet, but and there's pedophiles and there's cannibals in our leadership, right? We know that, and nothing has happened to them. It's a sinister world. It's a sinister world. There's no doubt about it.
It
So
sounds like you're making some observations of what's happening.
very good observations. and we're not allowed to say that they're facts. And if you want to call it a conspiracy, we're living the conspiracy because we
Hey
know it's
man,
true.
yeah, I mean, the reality is it was right in our faces. We were told this is what's happening. Here's the list. Yeah, that is reality. I mean, yeah, the world is an interesting place, man. You got everything going on, uh, everything going on. Um, so definitely, I think what you're getting at is just be aware of everything. Be aware. Don't I mean, stretch the limits of your imagination of what you think is possible on a good in a positive way or a negative way, because it could both both realities can happen at the same time. I mean, this is both a really fantastic place to live, Earth, and it's for some it's a crazy place to live. Like
Yeah.
all the crazy things you can imagine are happening, and everything in between. I mean, I think that's you kind of hinted on it earlier about when it comes to creativity. You use the gardening example.
Okay.
A lot of I think if you can use these tools to enhance your own personal creativity, which I think that's largely what we're here for anyway, is to be creators of our own or co-creators of our own reality. So if you can use these tools to do that, create and co-create better, that's what we should be using them for.
I
You
got a
got it.
question.
You got a crazy look on your face. What's up?
Why did you say co-creators? Why co? I mean, because that's dual. There's more than one. Why? Why not just I can be the sole creator of my own reality?
Because you don't create the world in isolation of other people. You interact with other people and you adjust and you do certain things. You're the main character in your own story. And then as you interact with other people, they have your story shifts as you start to collaborate with people like me and you here, where you had your own individual thoughts about what this would go, how this would go, and I had mine, and then we put them together and co-created this. And the people who listen, it plays a role in how they go on and create things in their world too. So it's not creating in isolation, it's co-creation in that we are all kind of intermingled with what's going on. If you watch a news story and you have a new thought about whatever it may be, that enters into your psyche and your vibration and it shifts how you're going to go act things out or what you may want to create in the future. So in that sense, we're all kind of playing off of each other to create the reality that we live in. So it's not really creating solely by itself. It's interaction with others. And that's why it's so important, as you mentioned, to have quality interactions with others that are fruitful to help you enhance whatever it is you want to create in your own world, whether it be a tool like AI, whether it be a conversation with a grandparent or a cousin, you take what's useful for you
Yeah.
and you move forward. So that's why I would say it's a co-creation.
Okay. I dig it. I dig it. That makes sense. That makes plenty of sense.
Yeah, man. Trying to make sense of this place we got going on, man. Uh, yeah. So, man, what else can we say about this topic, man? Sounds like
Well, there's
go
one
ahead.
more thing that we didn't touch on, and that's
Yeah.
how the algorithm or AI can be. And I don't want to get deep in this because this is a real touchy situation. But religion,
Mhm.
you know, how AI can manipulate people's thoughts in religion, especially if
What have you
we
seen
are,
on that, man? What have you seen
huh?
about that? What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, what have you seen
Well,
on that?
it's like all of the interpretations, you know,
Okay.
if we're not reading it for ourselves and we're only taking the interpretation of what other people are saying. Now, mind you, if we're taking it from, if I hear your interpretation, you personally, your interpretation on a specific verse or chapter or the whole book of the Bible or the Torah, the Deep Sea Scrolls, and whatever. If I hear your interpretation of it, and then I can ask somebody else about their interpretation of it, and I can ask somebody else about their interpretation of it, and I can read it myself, then I will have a broader perspective. But a lot of people, I believe, are asking Google, "Hey, what's up with this?" Specific verse, and it's popping up and it's giving out different um, ideas of what the verse is. Right? It's giving its description. However, it's giving you the different descriptions. You see what I mean? If you have the algorithm, it has the ability to change one word to make it mean something different for your algorithm, for the way it wants to control that individual. And yeah, I'm talking about the Manchurian candidate and all that other kind of stuff, to be able to control person and make them do and believe what it is they want to believe in. And on a large scale, it could divert everybody to a specific idea of what the Bible is, you know. And even though people might want to divert, there are skillful ways to push people. Hey, nah, this is. I know everybody's like, you're talking about Revelations and you're talking about this, but I can connect Revelations with Matthew. So I'm going to bring you back to Matthew because this is the idea I want you to talk about. Slaves, love your master. So when you're talking about this doom and gloom, let me bring you back to slaves, love your master. I know you want to talk about Psalms, but here, let's bring it back to slaves, love your master. It can do that. It has the ability to do that. But again, it also has you have the ability to grab your own Bible and talk to regular people.
Man, this whole this whole religion thing, dude. How can I say it, bro?
Well, you got 5 minutes, man. I was listening.
um, I'm gonna start it with it like this, and me and you have so many of these conversations that end up getting a roundabout way about religion or spirituality and things like that, and it always starts with, for me, the issue that we have, because we know throughout history, religion, politics, all these different things are a major reason as to why we get in so many conflicts on a national stage, international stage, and sometimes in a close proximity to people with you. People get into arguments about these types of topics. And the one reason I think that is because the word religion is about re-legioning or re-binding back to something, reattaching to something. I pledge allegiance, legion, that word, and rebinding back. So what is it about rebinding back to? And it's about the source from which we all came from and from which we're all still a part of. And when we get into these topics about, let's say, like you mentioned, slaves obey your master, that is a very uh, elementary thing when it comes to what religion was supposed to be about, which is binding back to a source. So when we reduce it down to these topics like uh, slavery or what Jesus said or what Allah said about this person, we get to those minute details, we're missing the major point of the religion, which is to bind back to source or spirit or what we all are part of. And that one thing can only be interpreted by reading these types of texts with the esoteric knowledge of how does this bind back to myself, bind myself back to the all. And you can, when you interpret these types of texts through a very literal interpretation, you get into all these arguments that can never be solved, and which is why these things lead to such perpetual debates and fights, because we're trying to interpret something that is meant to bind us back to the all with a literal interpretation and then apply it to today and what's going on politically, internationally, and it doesn't jive, which is why there's always a conflict. But if you can interpret these texts through the lens of how does it relate to me as an individual and as a soul who came here to have an experience, then you can see the connection between all of these texts.
Yes. Yes.
And that's, and I guess the point I'm making is that we have to start to grow up and look at what these things are really meant to do. And that's where we find the connection points between Christianity, Islam, Judaism, which are all Abrahamic religions anyway, and Abraham being an anagram for the word Brahma, which connects it then to Eastern science. And we know Brahma and Krishna are very similar as well, also to the Christ. And then we can start to see that it's talking about something internal, that it's talking about the internal part of us, which is truly connected and can never be disconnected from the source, because we're all that. We're all the creator in different variations of it. Um, so that's what I would say about the religion. Yeah, it does. It can if you don't rise above those elementary debates, but we're talking about something that is beyond that when it comes to getting to source. Now there has been some things put in some of these texts that throw people off intentionally because um, we know that these certain religions were created as a mechanism of control. The first way to attack the indigenous peoples as the those who went out and conquered and start to compile these different texts and put them together. Um, the first thing they attacked was the spiritual systems, because when you attack someone's spirit and their mind, you then can control how they act, which makes them more easy to control. So we have to be careful of those types of snares that keep us caught up. So that's what I would say about it, man.
Well, hey, I like what you said because it has everything to do with thinking hard. It has everything to do with um, connection to people,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
um,
Which we
and
started about.
getting back to source. That's the most important part to realize. We need connection. Other people are connected to source, and we can figure out now what source do we want to connect to. Do you want to connect to the all-powerful source, or do we want to connect to fully to an artificial source? You
Choice is
know,
yours.
yeah, the choice is yours. Hey, I love you guys. Everybody is awesome. This has been an awesome show. Rod, you're gonna have the last word to take us out of here. But hey, come back again and see us.
Yeah, man, this was an awesome build, man. Just I like how you ended it about connecting the source, the choices are ours in terms of how we go forward, fully connecting with each other, technology, or maybe it's a little bit of both to enhance our own creativity, our own the way in which we show up in the world, so that we can make this world a better place for ourselves, the children, the legacy that we leave behind. At the end of the day, all our experiences are why we're here in the first place. So let's go out and have some great experiences with ourselves first, and of course with those around us and the ones that are in the space. So I look forward to you all joining us next time. Uh, who knows what we talk about on A to Z? We'll go a lot of places as usual. So we'll see you here. All right, bro. Then we did it.
I hope so. You stopped the recording.
Yeah, I saw the recording. The live is gonna go off. You just gotta hit the
It,
end the
it
live.
I have to end the live.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't know. Because on this other screen here, I want to share it real quick.
Did
Because
you end it?
oh no,